Well, we got the Root guys here. Going to continue to talk about different things in esports. Next topic, the World Championship Series hosted by Blizzard Entertainment. How has the program been so far, gentlemen? Starting with the champion of the United States of America, Vibe.
Oh yeah, it's been a really cool tournament. I feel like it kind of replaced BlizzCon just because they didn't really have one this year. It's pretty much the whole point. But I feel like it pretty much put a step above what BlizzCon was before, just because it really involves the whole world, and it really gives everybody an opportunity rather than just like, oh, if you're top 200 on the ladder in certain regions you get to go. But like everyone literally gets a chance at this, so it really gives like it gives you that feeling where it's like the average Joe can, like it's like in sports, I guess the average Joe can make it in the pros, that kind of thing. And it just gives everyone a good opportunity. And then on top of that, just the coverage you've seen off some of these tournaments has been insane. It's been really cool to watch, and it's just another it brings another aspect to esports, like it's StarCraft 2, I guess. It's not just like, oh, it's a foreigner, it's a Korean, it's someone from this team. It's like, okay, we got our American player, we got our Swedish player, we got Ukrainian player, just whatever country you're from. And it's a really cool dynamic it adds onto it, I would say. So I really like it, and I really hope, and I feel like it's been really successful this year. So I hope they feel it's a good idea to do it again next year, and I'd like to see it come back.
I feel it's been a success so far. I'd love to see it again next year. TT1, you participated in the Canadian qualifiers. How was your experience?
Yeah, I played in Canada and I made it to the NA. Like Vibe said, it's very good. It adds a lot of incentives for players to practice, because it's hard to like break out with like MLGs and stuff like that where there's a lot of Koreans.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a nice added bonus. And I feel like because I came from a Brood background, I feel like it took WCG's place a lot. They've been, I don't know, it's been up in the air sort of with WCG. So yeah, I feel like right now I think it's kind of hard to compete with the Koreans. So this is a bonus to all the foreign players. They can showcase their skills. We've seen a lot of up-and-coming players such as, Johnny Recco. Who knew who Johnny Recco was before WCS?
Now everybody knows that name. He's a household name in esports.
Exactly.
For StarCraft too.
So it gives a lot of opportunities to players, and I hope they have it again next year. It's been awesome so far.
Cats, what was the Latin American scene like?
I didn't actually play in the WCS Peru because I was still studying or living in the US.
Mm-hmm.
But the Latin American scene, it's not very strong, but there's a few strong players. Killer Phoenix. Yeah, that's about it.
It's kind of weird though, because Mexico is almost considered part of the Latin American scene, even though it's part of North America. Right. So we have Major here this weekend. He won the Mexican WCS.
Yeah, but he played in the North America finals.
Exactly. But it seems the community itself, though, the Latin American community kind of incorporates more of Mexico as well compared to.
Oh, that's because of the language.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely,
like compared to U.S. and Canada, tournaments and players and stuff.
Yeah.
I found that a little bit interesting, but of course, yeah, if you go by territory, it is North America and
absolutely.
South America.
I have to agree with what both of them said. It's something I brought up back in the beta, and I got a lot of crap for it. But I think it should still be on YouTube. On YouTube, like a couple years ago, I said that if we want esports to grow outside of Korea as it has in Korea, we need leagues that are gonna be focused on individual regions rather than the entire world. And we still have everything else. We still have NASL having Koreans, we still have MLG, we still have DreamHack, IPL, whatever else. But WCS is great because you can practice and you stand a chance. You can win, like Vive won what in WCS?
21,000.
So
200,000. I wish.
$21,000 is $21,000 that he worked really hard for, and it's practice that he perhaps wouldn't have put in if it hadn't been for WCS, and that's a way that you have to develop the scene. I mean, like Vive, I'm sure like a lot of players from North America practice so hard for it, and as well as from Europe and everywhere else. So I hope that it continues to happen. I hope that more leagues like WCS appear with decent prize pools so that players have a motivation to play and a realistic chance to, perhaps not beat MC, Dong, Ragu, Flash, and J-Dong in a row, but instead beat TT1.
Well, it is difficult compared to the Korean scene, which has been very strong for the last decade. They have an infrastructure that has been built up compared to the Western scene, and even a little bit of the European scene that hasn't reached that benchmark yet. But the WCS, like you guys have said, has given exposure to players, has allowed players to participate and win prize pools and be exposed on camera and have their stories told, and also to foster the growth. I hear a lot of cynicism when it comes to the North American scene.
Yeah.
And to me, you can draw a line in the sand and continue to be cynical, or you can still be critical but work on how to improve it and how to make it better. And I feel that Blizzard has helped to pave the way to do that. But what can be improved? If Blizzard decides to do this next year, what should they do differently?
I've heard a lot of talks about having a separate tournament. So maybe, because, like, for example, I know Vibe, he had a great run in WCS US, but no one really talked about it. I think for the run that he had, he deserved more exposure, and I think that's probably one of the main goals of WCS is to promote our players so we can grow our community, our esports scene. So maybe just have a separate tournament so, you know, players get more exposure or something like that.
I can see problems with that, though. Like, the reason why they would do this is because they will get the views.
From MLG?
From MLG, from NASL.
I think they would get the views anyways, regardless.
I think so, too. But I think there's also a factor, at least for this year, where they didn't want to run every tournament.
Yeah, that's probably
And
true.
so they just delegated.
I think maybe this year was kind of like a test run to see how it goes. I think it was kind of a success. If you have the casters, if you have a good product, I think the viewers are still going to be there. Like, I'm sure, I think a few Oceania tournaments or something, it was only like a single tournament. It wasn't in cooperation with any other league, and they did fairly well as well. I think if you have the big name casters, the viewers are still going to follow as well.
Yeah, I think how it worked is Blizzard just gave budget to certain. You could tell the difference too. Like, there was actually no prize pool for WCS Peru. So I'm sure whoever ran WCS Peru pocketed a little bit of money. I mean, WCS Australia brings Tastosis to cast, and they have amazing production.
Yeah.
Then WCS Peru doesn't, like, you know, like I'm sure, like, Australia got more money.
That was kind of
Peru,
weird. Maybe they should publish, like, you know, their budget
they absolutely should.
Because that's kind of sketchy. I don't understand how that works either. So.
Well, that's maybe been the reason with Blizzard wanting to use kind of trusted organizations to help foster these tournaments, right? And I hosted the North American one, the United States one, and also the Canadian one. And it was difficult for the players especially to be in both tournaments, either, you know, the pro circuit for MLG and the North American or the United States tournament. But then we saw DreamHack and how they had a separate European finals and how big that was.
Absolutely, that was great. So DreamHack ran the European finals, but they ran it as a separate event, and then they ran.
I feel that to start up the tournament, it was necessary to budget out to different tournaments and to see, okay, this is how we're going to run it, this is how we're going to organize it, and now people have learned, okay, we can make this better. And I feel that NASL could perhaps host a separate tournament for North America or Canada, you know, or MLG, or any tournament that Blizzard wants to contract to make it happen. But I do feel that to experience an event truly dedicated to that region, be it the United States, North America, Europe, South America, Australia, it should be a separate event. Those are my personal opinions.
Just have the players fly out 2-3 days before the event and have them play the tournament. I feel it's going to cost you a bit more, but yeah, if Blizzard is, you know, paying a lot of the funds, it's not that big of a deal, I think, and, you know, it'll have their own turn. People are going to have their own tournament.
And this is the first year, so I mean, we're all going to learn something here, and hopefully Blizzard wants to do it next year because I think it's been a great success so far.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to take a commercial real quick. When we come back, a little more time here with Root, and then we're going to get the matches underway for StarCraft. Stay tuned. This is the Roundtable discussion here at the North American Star League.